Hello everyone and welcome to this lecture. My name is Burhanuddin and in this lecture we are going to learn that how can we create a local notification in Android. So let's just open the Android Studio and let's just create a new project. Click on the Start a new Android Studio project, select the empty activity and click on Next. Now I will name it as Notifications app notification. Okay, so now just click on finish and let's just wait for the Gradle to be built successfully. Okay, so my project is ready now. So let's just open the activity underline main.xml file and let's just design our layout first. Okay, so let's just switch to the split view and remove this constraint layout and I will change it to the linear layout. Okay, so now let's just remove this text view from here. Let's just style this root layout first. So I'll say background to be color primary, then the gravity of this layout to be center, and then let's just add padding inside this layout to be of 18 dp. Okay, so that's it. And also let's just change the orientation of this layout to vertical because we know that by default the orientation of linear layout is set to be horizontal. Okay, so now what I want to edit text view here, and below the text view I want a button here. Okay, so let's just add edit text view. So I'll say edit text. The layout width would be wrap content. Okay, so let's just put the layout width to be mesh parent instead. So I'll say layout width to be mesh parent and layout height to be wrap content. Okay, so as you can see now it is visible, and by default there is some margin here, or that is because we have already specified the padding value of 18 dp inside this linear layout, so it will be the margin for this edit text. Okay, so now let's just put some hint value here. So I'll say hint, and I'll say hint value to be enter a title, enter a title. Okay, so now let's just specify the hint color. So I want the hint color of to be gray. So I say f3 f3 f3, that's fine. Okay, so now let's just give this an id. So I'll give this an id of title edt. Okay, I will say h sign plus id slash. Okay, now let's just change the text color also. I'll change the text color to be FFF, and then the size, that is text size, and I'll say the text size to be 25 sp. Okay, that's fine. Now let's just close this, and now let's just put another edit text below it, and I'll say the layout width to be mesh parent and the layout height to be wrap content. Okay, so now let's just give this hint value of enter description. Okay, and then let's just give the hint color to be gray as well. F3 3. Okay, now let's just change the text color. So I'll say text color to be white. Okay, Now let's just change the text size of this edit text as well. So I'll say text size to be 25 sp. Okay. Now let's just put the bottom margin here. So I'll say the bottom margin bottom to be 18 dp. Okay. Now let's just give this an ID. So I'll give this ID of this description. So I'll say DES EDT. Okay, so that is my ID for this edit text. And now let's just put a button below it. So I'll say button. Okay, now I want the layout width to be match parent and layout height to be 40 dp. Okay, so now let's just put some text on this button. So I'll say text to be create a notification. Okay, so now let's just change the background color. So I'll say the background to be FFF, it is white. Okay, so now let's just change the text color as well. So I'll say text color to be color primary dark. Okay, so now let's just give this an ID. So I'll give this an ID of click BTN. Okay, so now let's just close this button. Okay, so now let's just run our app and see how does it look. Okay, so now let's just wait until my AVD comes online. So now as you can see, my application is up and running. I have this two text views, edit text here and this button here. Okay, so now let's just implement the Java code for it. Okay, so we need to create notification. Earlier in this course we have studied that we can use two different types of alert messages in order to notify the user. The one of them was toast and the second one was alert message. Okay, but when we are talking about the notification, the toast message seems a little bit familiar. Okay, but the problem with the toast message is it only it occurred for a short period of time. Okay, we just set the toast message for 2 time length. Okay, the one will be short and the second one will be long. Okay, but that's not enough. We want to show a notification to the user until he does something on it, whether he clears it from the notification bar or clicks on the notification. Okay, so we want to create a notification like that. So for that purpose we use this method in order to create the local notification inside Android. Okay, so let's just first declare our variables and then initialize and then take a look at how we can create the local notification in Android. So first let me create some declaration for the edit text. I'll say edit text edt1 and then edt2. Okay, and then let's just create the declaration for button. So I'll say button btn. Okay, let's just import the class for the button. And now let me just instantiate this variable. So I say edt1 equals to of type edit text. Then I will say find view by id r.id dot it will be edit text will be title edt. Okay, so now let's just instantiate the second one. I say edt2 equals to edit text, and then I will say find view by id r.id dot description edt. Okay, now let's just put the semicolon at the end, and now let's just instantiate the button. So I'll say btn equals to button, then find view by id, then r.id dot it will be click button. Okay, so now let's just put the semicolon at the end. Okay, so now we need to listen to the clicks of the user. So let's just implement on click listener on this button. Okay, so now let's just say btn dot set on click listener, this one, then new on click listener. Now I can implement my logic in this method. Okay, but first let's just create a separate method for the notification, because it will be otherwise too complicated to read. Okay, so let's just create a separate method here outside of this on create method. Okay, so let's just call this method a private void, then we'll name it as show notification. So show notification. Okay, we don't want to pass any parameters here, so I'll leave it as empty, and then the opening braces and closing braces. Okay, so now in order to create a notification, I need an object of notification compact.builder class. Okay, so for creating it, so I will say notification then compact dot builder. Okay, so I need the object of this class. So let's just first import the libraries for notification compact. Hit alt enter and the libraries will be imported. Now let's just create an object of this builder class. So I'll say builder. Now in order to create the new object, I'll say new, then notification compact builder, and I need to pass the context or the current activity inside this argument. So I will say main activity dot this. Okay, so now let's just put the semicolon at the end. Now whenever we want to create a local notification, there are certain methods that we must need to implement. Okay, so the three methods here that we must need to implement are: we need to set the icon. Okay, next we need to set the content title, or we can say the title of the notification, and the third one will be the description of the notification. Now these are the three methods that we must implement in order to create or show a notification. Okay, so first let's just implement the icon of the notification. So for that I will say builder. I'll use this builder object, and then I will say this method that set small icon right here. As you can say, there are two methods. The first method takes only one argument that is of integer type, and the second method takes two arguments and that are for integer type. But for now let's just select this first method with one argument of integer type, and now here we need to pass the location of my image. So I have already downloaded an image in order to use for this application. So I'll just click on this right click on this rest folder, then I'll just click on show in explorer in order to view in my file explorer, and now I will just click on this rest, and now I need to place my image here inside this drawable icon. So here is my image. Okay, here is my image, so I'll just drag and drop it here. Now let's just close this and close this as well. Now as you can see, it is available inside my drawable folder. So I want to use this PNG image. As you can see, here is the image. Okay, so let's just give its location. We will do it by r dot it as it resides inside my drawable folder. So I'll say r dot drawable, and then I'll say dot image dot png, that is this one. Okay, so let's just put the semicolon at the end, and now as you can see, this little icons comes up here. That is my image that I've used. Okay, so now let's just put the title. So I'll say builder. Now the title of the notifications came from the user in my case. So let's just fetch the title first. So the title will be fetched from the ADT one. Okay, so I'll say set title, set content title actually. So I'll say set content title, and now I'll specify the title. So I'll say ADT1 dot get text, this one, and then dot to string. Okay, we need to convert it into string type. Okay, now let's just set the description for it. So I'll say builder dot set content description, that is content text. Okay, so I'll use this method and I will say edt2 dot get text dot to string. Okay, so now let's just put the semicolon at the end. Okay, now this thing will create the notification. Okay, but we need to specify that where we need to create the notification. Okay, so for that let me just put the comment here. So I'll say user click on notification. So this function will occur, or this line of code will only execute whenever the user clicks on the notification that appears in the notification bar. Okay, we need to perform some activity, so we will perform this activity right here. So I'll say and we know that opening anything in Android we use an intent. Okay, so let's just create an intent object first. So I'll say intent, then I'll say then I'll create the intent object. So I'll say intent and then new intent. Okay, now in the parameter I need to pass two activities. Okay, that is my source activity and my destination activity. Okay, so for the source activity I will pass main activity dot this. Okay, now for the destination activity, now since I have only one activity in my application and I want the user to be redirected to this activity only, I can pass this activity as a destination activity as well. So for the destination activity I'll say main activity dot class. So as you can see, my destination activity and my source activity is now same, because I want the user to be redirected to this activity only. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is to create an object of the pending intent. So we can create the object of pending intent. Okay, but what is pending intent? Okay, so let's just refer to the documentations of Android for that. So open a browser for that. I'm using the Chrome for that, and I will just type pending intent. Okay, so now let's just open this developers.android.com thing. Okay, so now as you can see, pending intent is a class which is final that objects that extends objects class and implements the parserable interface. Okay, so here's the description for pending intent, that a description of an intent and target action to perform with it. The instances of this class are created with this there are some methods given right here, and that returns the object can be handled to other applications so that they can perform the action you describe on the behalf at the later time. Okay, so by giving a pending intent to other application, you are granting that application a right to perform an operation, okay, that you have specified. So other application will perform some operation that we specified that application to perform, but it will perform that operation on behalf of you. Okay, the operation will be performed as you are performing that operation. Okay, so as it says, right to perform the operation you have specified, as it the other application was yourself with the previous permission and the identity. Okay, so as such you should be careful about how to build the pending intent. Okay, so you need to be careful that how you are using that pending intent, because anytime this pending intent performs some activity, the identity will be of yours, that you have said you are performing that activity. Okay, a pending intent itself is a simple reference token maintained by system describing the original data used to retrieve it. It means that even if its owning application process is killed, pending intent itself remain intents remain usable. Okay, so this means to say that if we remove the application from the memory, or we destroy the application, even if we destroy the application, still the notification will remain in the notification bar, and user will be able to do process or activity by clicking on that notification. Okay, so this was what pending intent. So now let's just here are some methods and constants of the pending intent. We are going to use one of this, and that is the flag update current. Okay, so we will talk about it later. So let's just move back to this Android Studio. Okay, so now let's just create the object of the pending intent. So I will say a pending intent, then let me create the object of the pending intent with the name pending intent itself. So now I will say pending intent dot get activity. Okay, so I'll use get activity method here. Okay, then I need to pass some arguments here. Okay, so that I have to pass 3 arguments here first. So the first one will be the context. Okay, so that will be my main activity dot this. Okay, now for the second argument I need to pass a request code. Okay, so we have learned about the request code, that request code are used to identify each and every process uniquely. So for this identifying the process of this notification, I'll simply pass the request code 0 here. Okay, now the third argument will pass the intent object. Okay, so we'll pass this intent object right here. So I'll say intent here. And now for the fourth argument, let me just put it on the next line so that you can see it properly. Okay, so now for the fourth argument I need to pass a flag. Okay, I need to pass some flags. Okay, so that flag will be update current. Okay, so that flag will specify that I need to update this activity. Okay, so how can we do that? So I'll say pending intent dot, I will say flag update current. Okay, so now let's just put the semicolon at the end. And now now let's just learn that what is flag update current. So now let's just open the documentation again, and now as you can see there is a constant given here, flag update current, whose definition says flag indicating that if described pending intent already exists, then keep it but replace its extra data with what is new in the new intent. Okay, so let's just open this flag update current, and now as you can see we use some activity methods with this flag update current, and it says that if there is already a pending intent, okay, a new pending intent occurs, then what we need to do is we need to replace the data. Okay, so if there is already intent pending intent, then no worries, but what we can do that we can keep that intent and then we can just replace the extra data which is not present in the previous intent. Okay, so for that purpose we have used this flag update current. Okay, so now let's just move back to the Android Studio. You can read these documentations. Okay, just make a good habit to read the documentation because they are very useful. Okay, so now let's just move back to the Android Studio and let's just implement our other code. Okay, so here I just need to now set the content for the pending intent. So I'll say blur dot set content. Okay, so I'll use set content intent methods. I'll say set content intent, this one, which takes an argument of pending intent type. So I'll specify the pending or intent object here like this. And now what we need to do is we need to create an object of notification manager. Okay, so let's just create an object of notification manager. And then let's just name it as notification manager. Let us first import the classes for it. So I'll say alt enter and it will automatically import the libraries for it. So now let's just name the object as a notification manager, and then I will cast it to the notification manager type. So I'll say notification manager. Okay, now I need to get the service for the notification. Okay, So for that we have method which says get system service, okay, and which takes one argument. So we'll see that argument in a bit. So let's just say get system service, okay. Now it takes an argument. So in argument we will specify the notification service that we want to use. So I'll just specify in the caps that notification service, as you can see right here, okay. Now I'll just put the semicolon at the end, okay. So now let's just use the notify method in order to notify the notification, okay. So I'll say the notification manager, use the notification manager object, and then say notify, okay. As you can see, this method takes 3 parameters as an argument, and also takes the 2 parameter one, but we are going to use the 3 parameter argument. The first one will be the tag, okay. So we need to specify a tag for the notification. So let's just say it as my notification, okay. The next one is an integer, okay, integer ID. So for the ID I will use 123, okay, that is the ID of the notification. And the third one we want to build the notification, okay. The third parameter we will specify to build the notification. So for that we'll use the builder object of the notification compact builder, and then I will use a method called build, okay. So this method will build the notification for me, okay. So that's it for this method. So now what I need to do is just to call this method inside my button click, okay. So I'll say inside this method I'll just call this method. So I'll say show notification, okay. So the logic is now ready. So now let's just run the application and see whether it is working or not. So now as you can see, my application is up and running, and let's just create a notification here, okay. So I will enter the title as this is a notification, okay, and I'll set the description as this is my first notification, okay. So now let's just click on this create notification button and see whether it is working or not. So as I have created already this on this button, so now let's just check the notification is occurred or not. So as you can see now the notification does not occurred, okay. So let's just try again this one more time, okay. Let's just click on this button, and as you can see it is still not working. So this is because since Android Oreo, or we can say Android API 27, this thing has been deprecated, okay. So we now we can not longer just call a notification like this way. This thing will surely work below the Android Android Oreo or API level 26, okay. So as you can see now, currently my emulator is running. That is this is Pixel 2. It is still running on API 27, okay. So in short, I cannot use this way to open to show the notification to the user about the API 26, okay. So if I want to use this way, I can still do it below the API level 26. So I have another one device that is this one, Pixel 2 XL, which runs on API level 29, API level 19, okay. So let's just click on run button and see whether the notification occurs or not, okay. So I'll just put this aside, and here is my second device. So now as you can see it is running. So let's just put a title here. This is a notification. Let's just put the description. This is my first notification, okay. So now let's just click on this create a notification button, and now let's just open the status bar, and as you can see now our notification is now successfully created, okay. So here is the icon, as you can see here, that we have specified. here is my title and here is my notification description. Okay, so if I click, I can actually remove this notification from here. And now let's just create it again. Now let's just open the status bar again. As you can see, now the notification is created, and if I click on this notification, as you can see, it is again redirecting me to this page. Okay, so this is how we can create the notification in Android phones below API 26. Okay, but what if we want to do it above 26? Okay, so now let's just take a look at how we can do that. But first let's just see that why has this thing happened. Okay, so now we know one thing, that since Android Oreo or API 26, showing notification becomes a bit harder. Okay, and the reason for this was because now for showing notifications, we have to define a notification channel. Okay, so for every new notification, every types of notification, we need to define a notification channel. Okay, we need to do it for actually every notification. Okay, so we for this was done for the purpose that to give user a more fine control about the notification, or what notification he want to receive, and how much time he for what notification you want to receive, and how much noise they are allowed to make. Okay, and before Oreo, user could just disable notification based on the impact, and that is we are giving too many, that is because if we are giving too many notifications to the user, it is very likely that he just disable them for the whole application. Then we will not be able to show any notification to them. Okay, but now we have to sort our notification into categories. Okay, so before Oreo, we can just show any number of notification to the user, and if we do so, the user can directly what user can do is directly disable the notification for or disable every notification for that application. But now what we need to do is we need to sort our notification. Okay, so we need to define the user that I want to this notification to you. Okay, and then it will be on the user that user want to show that notification or not. Okay, so it is based on user, that user can decide for which category he want to receive the notification, and for which category he don't. Okay, and if they are allowed to make sound and use notification LED and things like that, user can also have control on that. Okay, so if we have target API level 26 and don't define a notification channel, that we haven't done in this code here, we haven't passed any notification channel here after this context while building the application, and that was the reason that the notification is not shown. Okay, if you can see here that when I click on this, this is my emulator with the target API level 27. Here it is. Okay, so now as you can see, if I click on this button, it is not giving me any error. Okay, it is still running completely fine, but it is not just showing me a notification. Okay, so that is the case here. Okay, so now there are different options on where and when to create these notification channels in order to show the notification. And one approach is to create them just before we send a notification. Okay, so that means that let's just create the notification channel about this code. Okay, so but one disadvantage of this is whenever we want to create a notification, we need to unnecessarily write this code of creating a channel again and again. So instead of creating them somewhere in our code, it is better to create them in once in our application. Okay, so when our application runs or gets started, to do this, we can create this object or notification channel inside the application class. Okay, so let's just apply it that way, because we do not want to write the code again and again. So let's just create in the application class. So for writing it inside the application class, we need to create another class in our package. So as you can see, we are in my package directory right now. So I'll just right click on it, and now I can just create a new Java class. Okay, so I can create this I can name this class as app. Okay, and this class must have to have a super class. That is, this class must have to explain any class, one class, that is the application class. So I'll say Android dot app dot application. Okay, so as you can see, this class should extend this application class. So now I'll just click on OK. Okay, so now as you can see, my class is now created. So now this application class is just like what its name implies. Okay, so it wraps our whole application with all of its activities, services, and if you want to do setup at our start of our application and not in any particular activity, this is the right place to do it. Okay, so remember that whenever you want to do something only once when application gets started, so you should do it in this way, so that you don't have to repeat your code again and again. And remember one thing, redundancy is crime whenever you are doing any kind of programming. So now here we can override on create method, which will be called before we start any activity, and right when we start our app. Okay, so this is the perfect place to set up our channel. So now we will not do it unnecessarily often, but it will still let us update the channel name and description. Okay, so let's just do it here. So let's just override the on create method first. So I'll simply write on create here, and as you can see, we have now overridden the on create method. So let's just create those channel here, and so let's just first type here a shortcut that I want to show you. Okay, so let's just declare this first here on the top. So let's just type PSFS, and as you can see, this is the shortcut for public static final string. So this is because I want to create a constant value here of string type, which will be for the channel name. So I want to create a channel ID here first. So I'll name it as channel 1 ID. Okay, so let's just give this ID constant a value. So I will give this a value of channel 1. Okay, so now let's just put semicolon at the end. So actually in real world, the channel name should be explained what it is for. Channel 1 that we have put right here, but it should not be like this. You have to explain what for what purpose you are creating this channel. Okay, so but for now, this example, let's just keep it as channel 1. So actually I want to create two of them, so I'll again say PSFS. Okay, so we have a typo here. Okay, so now let's just create another string constant. I will name it as channel 2 ID. So I'll just say channel 2 ID. Okay, so now let's just give this constant a value. So I'll say it as channel 2. Okay, so now we have created two constants for our channel. Now as we will point notification to a separate method, so let's just do it inside on create method. So let's just call that method here. So I'll say create notification. This will give you an error because we haven't created this method yet. So I'll simply say create notification channel. Okay, like this. now I will not pass any argument here, so I'll just keep the parameter empty. So now let's just create this method. So now just make sure you are outside the onCreate method. So now let's just create this method. So I will say private. I want to keep this method as private, so I'll say private, and this method is not going to return anything, so I'll say void, and then the method name, that is create notification channel. Okay, so now let's just put the parenthesis here, and now let's just now we can implement our logic here. So now first thing we need to do inside this method is first check that whether the Android version or the build level is of Android Oreo or higher, because the notification channel class is not available in the lower API. Okay, so if it is Android Oreo, then this method will be work, or if it is not Oreo, then channel ID will not work because it is not present in the lower level APIs. Okay, so now let's just first check that whether the build version is greater than Oreo or not. So for that what we can do, let's just put if condition here, and then I can say build dot, I can say version. Okay, so as you can see right here, and then I can say dot SDK int. Okay, as you can see, it comes from system properties dot get int. Okay, so I will this line of code will actually get the version of the system. Okay, this is the Android phone, and then we will say that if the build.version.sdk which is an integer is greater than or equals to build dot version codes, then I can specify the version code for which I want to check. And as you can see, Android autocomplete feature is suggesting me different version codes, that is cupcake, donut, eclair, then Oreo, gingerbread, honeycomb, ice cream sandwich, jelly bean, KitKat, lollipop, and O. So for now, and P and Q also it is showing me, but for now I want to check that whether it is greater than or equal to version code Oreo or not. So I will say O. Then if this condition is true, now we can create the object of the notification channel, which will take 3 parameters. Okay, the first one will be the channel ID, then second one will be the name, and the third one will be the importance of the notification. So let's just do it. So for that we need to create the object of notification channel class. So I'll say notification channel using this, and now I'll create a notification channel object. So I will say channel, let's just name it as channel 1, as we have 2 channels in our project. So I'll say channel 1. Then I want to create the new object of notification channel, so I'll simply say new equals to new, then I'll say notification channel. Okay, so as I said, this method takes 3 parameters. So the first one will be the constant that we have created up here, that is the channel ID. So for the first channel, I will say channel 1 ID. Okay, so the next thing I need to pass is the channel name. So I will name this channel as channel 1. So I will say channel 1. Okay, remember in the when you are practicing this thing in the real world, you should give this appropriate name. Okay, so that it is useful and understandable. Okay, because this thing will be shown to the user. Okay, so the third thing I need to specify is the importance of the notification. So for in order to get the importance, I need to use the notification manager class. So I will say notification manager, this one, and now as I put dot here, as you can see, Android auto completion feature is showing me different importance. So importance default, high, low, max, min, none, unspecified, and there are tons of them. So let's just as we have two channels in our application, let's just use high and low for importance, so that we can differentiate between those two. So first let's just use the importance high for the channel 1, and now I can put the semicolon here in order to close this parenthesis. Okay, so now what I need to do is we have our notification channel object, and we so now we can use different customization options with which we can set the color of the notification LED, if the phone has any, then the sound of the notification, and then where it would appear, that is it should appear as a pop-up, or it should appear on the lock screen or not, and that stuff. Okay, but it is important to know that the user has control over all of this. Okay, so but for now we can only use do some simple stuff, because and remember one thing, you cannot change this thing later, you can just change the description. Okay, so for now let's just set the description for the channel, and then let's just set up it for the second channel. Okay, so I will simply say I will use this channel notification channel object, and I will simply say channel 1 dot set description, and then I will set the description for my notification here. So for that I will say this is channel 1, this is channel 1. Okay, so that's it for setting up channel. So now let's just create the same channel for the another let's just implement the same logic for the another channel, that is channel 2 right here. Okay, so we are still inside the create notification channel method. Okay, so let's just do it right here below this, yeah, no, inside this. Okay, so let's just do it. So I'll say notification channel, and I will do it for channel 2, so let's just name it channel 2. Okay, so now let's just use the new keyword, so I'll say new, then again notification channel, and then again I'll pass 3 parameters. So the first one will be the channel 2 ID. Okay, the next one will be the channel name, that is channel 2. Okay, and the next one will be the importance level. So let's just use the importance low for this channel, as we have used importance high for the first channel. So we will use the notification manager for this, and then I'll set the importance, the caps, I'll set the importance to low. Okay, so now let's just put the semicolon at the end here after this parenthesis. Okay, so now let's just set the description for this. So I will say channel 2, this one, dot set description, then I will say this is channel 2. Okay, so we are good to go now. Now simply what we need to do is to create a reference of notification manager class and for our two channels. Okay, so I will say right here, so what I will say that notification manager, then I create the object of notification manager, then I will say get system service. Okay, so I'll use this method in order to get the notification manager class service. Okay, so then I will say notification manager, this one, and then I'll, as this is the class, I simply specify dot class here. Okay, so now I can put the semicolon at the end, and now we have created the object of the notification manager class. So let's just close it so you can see it properly. Okay, so now we need to use, we will use this manager object in order to create notification for our two different channels. So I'll say manager dot create notification channel. Okay, so we have other separate options from here for here. So as you can see, we have notification channel, that is our method that we have created, and then we have a notification channel group which will use for the group, and then we have a notification channel for groups which takes the which takes the argument of list type. You can pass different several groups in a list form to this method. And then we have create notification channels also, so we will use this simple one. And then we'll pass our channel object here. So I'll say channel one for setting up the notification channel for the first channel, and then I'll use the same thing for the second channel as well. So I'll say manager dot create notification channel, and this will be for the channel 2. Okay, so as you can see now, I have created two notification channel here. Okay, so we just need to register our app class into Android manifest. So there's so just simply let's just open the Android manifest file here. Okay, so here you can triple click on this manifest folder and this will open the manifest file for it. So now let's just register our app2 class here. So let's just put it inside this application. So I'll say Android dot name, and as you can see, it is already suggesting me this class. So I'll just press enter. So now our app class will wrap a whole application, and it will create our notification channel as soon as the application gets started. Okay, so now let's just create our layout. So let's just use the previous layout instead, or let's just create a new layout, because now we have two channels. So let's just create it. So for that, let's just click on new okay, so let's just create new Java class also. So let's just click on new and then activity, and let's just select the empty activity. Okay, so I want this to be my launcher activity as well. Okay, so let's just finish it. Let's just wait until my layout is getting built, and now as you can see, the layout is successfully created. So let's just design it. So let's just switch the split view, and now I can design my layout here. So what we need to edit text here for the title and description, and then I want two buttons here. So first one will be for channel 1 and the second one will be for channel 2. Okay, so let's just first change this constraint layout to linear layout. So I'll say linear layout. Okay, like this. So let's just change the background. So I'll say background to be color primary. Okay, so let's just change the gravity also. So I'll say gravity to be center, and then I want the padding value here. So I'll say padding to be 18 dp from every side. Okay, so now let's just put our edit text here. So I'll say edit text, then I'll say layout width to be match parent, and layout height to be wrap content. Okay, so now let's just add some hint value here. So I'll say Android hint to be this is for the title, so enter a title here. Okay, so now let's just change the color of the hint. So I'll say text hint color, text color hint, and then I will set it to white. Okay, and now let's just increase the text size as well. So I'll say text size to be 20 sp. Okay, so now let's just change the color of the text value also. So I'll say text color to be white as well, and now let's just give this an ID. So I'll say ID to be EDT title, EDT title. Okay, so now let's just close this thing. Okay, so let's just create another edit text. So I will say edit text, and the width will be match parent and the height will be wrap content. Okay, so now let's just give this an hint value. So I want this edit text to be for my description. So I will say enter a description here. Okay, let's just add some space here. As you can see, it is not showing because by default the orientation of my linear layout is horizontal. So let's just change the orientation to vertical, and now as you can see, here is my second edit text. Okay, so now let's just change the text hint color. So I'll say text color hint. Okay, and then I'll set the hint color to be white. Okay, so now let's just increase the size of the text as well. So I'll set text size to be 20 sp. Okay, so now let's just change the color of text also. So I'll set text color to be white as well. Okay, so now let's just give this an ID. So I'll say ID of edt description. Okay, so now let's just close this and now add our two buttons below it. So I'll say button, and the height of the and the width of the button will be match parent, and the height will be wrap content. Okay, so now let's just put some text on this button. So I said text, and the text will be create on channel 1. Okay, for the first button, and I will set the background color to be white, and the font color will be primary dark. So I'll set text color to be on primary dark. Okay, so now let's just create an ID, or instead let's just create on click method on this button only, so we do not need to create on click listener for that separately. So I will say on click, and then I'll give this the method send on click. Okay, so now let's just close this button as well, remove this parenthesis. We don't need this. Okay, so now let's just name it as send on channel 1, as we have two different channels. Okay, so now let's just create another button below it. So I'll say button, and then the width will be match parent, and the height will be wrap content. Okay, so I'll give this text of this will be create on channel 2. So I'll say create on channel 2. Okay, so let's just give this background color of white, that is FFF, and then I'll put the text color, that is text color, to be primary dark. Okay, as you can see, now the two buttons are very close to each other, and almost they are getting attached to each other. So let's just separate them, and in order to do that, I will just put a margin value on the top. So I'll say margin from the top to be 8, or let's just put it 8 dp. Okay, so now it's look good. So now let's just assign another on click method to this button. So for this method, I'll say send on channel 2. Okay, so now let's just put an closing angular bracket in order to close this. Okay, so now let's just move on to our main activity 3, and let's just implement our logic here. Okay, so first we need let's just create our two on click methods here. So I can simply say public void, and then send on click, or send on channel 1. Okay, and then it takes one parameter of view type. Okay, let's just import the classes. Okay, so now let's just opening and closing braces, and now let's just do the same thing for the channel 2. So I'll say public void, and then I will say send on channel 2, and then this will also take the argument parameter of view type. Okay, let's just put another opening and closing braces, and now we are good to go. So as you can see, now the error is gone. Okay, so now let's just move back to our main activity.java file, and now let's just declare our variables and instantiate them inside our own create method. Okay, so first let's just create our variables for edit text. So I'll say private, and then I'll say edit text, then my two edit text variables, that are edt title, and next one is edt description. Okay, so let's just instantiate them inside this own create method. So I'll say edt title, and then I'll say find view by id, r.id.edt title. Okay, so now let's just put the semicolon at the end, and now let's just do it same for the description. So I'll say edt description, and then find view by id r.id dot it will be for description. So here it is, edt description. Okay, so now let's just put the semicolon at the end. Now we need to declare another variable on the top, and then instantiate it. It will be for the notification manager compact. Okay, so you might be thinking that we have already used the notification manager, so why we need to use this notification manager compact now? Okay, so the thing is, this notification manager compact, this is a wrapper that wraps around the normal notification manager class, but it has some backward compatibility checks. Okay, so it cannot create the notification, but in short, we are going to use it for the for checking the backward compatibility, but we cannot use it directly without using the notification manager. It's because it cannot create notification channels. Okay, so let's just create it first. So I will say here I'll say private notification manager compact. Okay, so let's just type it out. So I will say notification manager compact, this one, which came from androidx.core. And as you can see here inside our main activity, we have used notification compact. Okay, but for now, and here we were using the notification manager. Okay, so as you can see, this notification manager, we were not passing any channel ID here, but using inside this main tree activity, we will be passing channel ID there. Okay, so let's just create the object for this notification manager compact. So I will say notification manager compact. Okay, just put the semicolon at the end, and now let's just instantiate this inside our own create activity. So I'll do this right here. So I'll say notification manager. Okay, notification manager compact, and then I will simply say equals to, and then I'll use the notification manager class. So I'll say notification manager, and then I'll pass some and then I will say notification manager compact instead, and then I want to pass the constant or a method from a particular class. Okay, so I will say notification manager compact dot from. Okay, and then I need to pass the context inside this from method. So I'll pass this class, that is main tree activity, as a context. Okay, so I'll simply say this. Okay, so now let's just put the semicolon at the end. Okay, let's just instantiate as we have instantiated our variables. Now let's just import some vector assets first that we want to show for our notification. Okay, so let's just open the ref folder inside my project, and now inside the drawable, I just need to right click. I don't want to use this image. Okay, so that's why I'm using two separate images for the two separate channels. Okay, so let's just right click on this and then go to new, and then I want a new vector asset right here. Okay, so now let's just click on this Android clip art icon, and as you can see, it has opened different icons for me. So let's just select two different icons here for our notification. So let me just type here 1. I want to display 1 and 2. Okay, for two different notifications. So for 1, I'll select this. Let's just put other things as same as it is, and now I click on finish. So let me just create another vector set, and this will be for the second notification channel icon, and for that I will just type it 2 here. Okay, so now I select this and click on OK. So now let's just click on next and finish. Okay, so now two icons are imported here. Okay, so now let's just use them inside our Java code. Okay, so inside our notification channel 1, let's just set up our notification channel for 1 first. So what will I do? Let's just create two string variable first in order to get the title and description from our edit text that we have already initialized or instantiate. selected. Okay, so let's just type in string here, and then I will say title. Okay, so now I will simply get the text value from the edit text. So I'll say edit title dot get text, and then I need to convert it to string value, so I'll say dot to string. Okay, so now I'll do the same thing for the description. So I'll say string, and then I'll say description, and then I'll say edit this dot get title get text dot to string. Okay, and then just put the semicolon at the end. Now for creating the notification, I need to create the object of notification class. So I'll say notification, and then I'll create the object of notification class, and then I will say new keyword, and then I'll use the notification compact dot builder. Okay, so I'll say notification compact this one, and then I'll use notification compact dot builder. Okay, so now inside this inside this parenthesis I need to pass two arguments here. So the first one will be the context of the application, so I'll just simply pass this, and the second one will be the channel ID, okay, that we have created inside this app class. Okay, this constant I need to pass. Okay, so for that as you can see, it is of public type, so we can access it from other class. So I'll simply say here, I'll simply say in caps channel 1 ID. As you can say, it is not available but not imported, so I will just simply place alt enter, and now as you can see it is imported. So now I don't want to put the semicolon right here because I want to set up another method for it. So I'll say dot I will say dot set small icon for setting the icon of our notification. So I'll say dot set small icon. Okay, so now let's just place the location of our icon. So I'll say r dot drawable, and the icon name will be IC1, I think. Yeah, it is IC looks 1. Okay, so let's just close this pane, and now as you can see my icon is up here. Okay, so now let's just set the title for the notification. So I'll say set content. Okay, so let's just remove this semicolon because we don't want to put it right here now. So let's just say dot content title. Okay, so I will set it to the title string that I have created earlier, which is the value of edit text edit title. Remove this semicolon, and then I will need to I want to set the description, and for that I will say set content text, which will set the description for me. Set content text. Okay, and then I will just simply pass the description string here. Okay, so now let's just alter some more other attributes of this builder class, and one of that is the priority. So we can actually set the priority of the notification here. So I will just simply use the method set priority, and then I can simply get the priority using the notification compact class. So I will just say notification compact notification, and then compact, and then I will simply put a dot here, and now as you can see I have different priorities here. I'll just say priority, and now as you can see I have different priorities here. Data is priority default, high, low, max, min. These are the same as the importance, but as we have specified the importance of our channel 1 to be high, I will set the priority to high as well. Okay, so now let's just and now there is one more method that I want to talk about before creating the notification. So that is the category. So we can actually categorize our notification in a proper way. So I will simply use this notification compact class first. So I say notification compact, and now we can categorize our notification. As you can see here, we can put our notification in the category of alarm, call, email, error, event, message, search, navigation, progress, and many more of these. But for simplicity, let's just categorize our notification into the message type. Okay, so I'll simply say category message. Okay, this one. This will put my notification into the category of message. Okay, so now I will simply build my notification. I'll simply use the build method, and now I'll just simply put the semicolon at the end. Okay, so now we will use the notify method in order to create the notification, and so for that I'll say notification manager. That is my notification manager compact object that we have created earlier. So I'll use that object, and then I will say notification manager compact dot notify. Okay, so I'll use this notify method and pass two arguments here. The first will be the ID in order to identify this notification. So if we want to update this notification later on, so I'll use ID as 1, and then I'll pass the notification object right here. Okay, this notification object is this one that we have created. Okay, so now we will define the same thing for the channel 2, for the second channel of our notification, and the only thing we need to replace is the channel ID from channel 1 ID to channel 2 ID, and then let's just we will also change the priority high to priority low, and then we will set the tag to 2. Okay, and the rest of thing will remain same. Okay, so let's just copy this thing from here. Okay, so let's just copy it from here, and then I'll put it right here also. So now let's just modify some things here. So I'll set the channel ID 2 for this one. Okay, so now let's just change this icon as well. So for the second, I want the icon to be icon looks 2. Okay, and then it is showing me an error. Okay, so we have something wrong here. That content method is not getting resolved. Okay, so we have by mistakenly removed the parenthesis, closing parenthesis from that line. So that is why it was showing me an error. So now let's just change the priority to priority low. Okay, and then let's just change the ID. Okay, so now let's just run our application inside this Pixel 2 API, Pixel 2 with API 27, and see whether it is working or not. Okay, so now let's just enter a title here. So I'll say title, and then description, I'll say description. Okay, so now let's just click on create channel 1, and now as you can see here is a notification we have got. So as you can see, we have got this notification in form of a pop-up notification, and it also plays some sound because we have set the priority of this notification to be high. And now as you can see, here is my notification. Here is my notification icon that I have set for the first channel. Here is my title, and here is my description. So now let's just create the same notification for the channel 2. And as you can see, it didn't show me any pop-up or any sound, but the notification is shown here. As you can see, here is my second notification, and here is my icon that I have selected for the second notification, and here is my title and description. So now if I click on this notification, okay, so now you might be thinking that what if my application is not of level 26. Okay, so for that if your build version is not of 26, then this notification manager will automatically ignore this channel ID for the lower version, and for the upper version it will automatically put this channel ID, so you don't need to worry about that. So this is how you can create notifications in API level lower than 26 and API level above 26 as well. Okay, so this was it for this lecture, and see you in the next video.